Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy JJ on Play here. We're back with another video, and today we're going to be reacting to how to actually build a romantic connection with anybody. You know what I'm saying? This is for all my lovers out there. If y'all want me to react to any video, please let me know in the comment. You know what I'm saying? I know I'll be picking the videos, but I don't know what y'all want to see. So just let me know in the comments and I'll react to it. You know what I'm saying? Blindly, I guess. But if you're new to this channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into this video.
Look, I've formed romantic connections, okay? They were real. They happened. I'm qualified. We're in a weird spot. The dating landscape sucks. There's a gender war. People are secretly recording you on your first date at the Cheesecake Factory. What are we doing? Skit or not, stop doing that. I'm not gonna make this super long.
Man, this person's voice is low-key like relaxing me though, like no.
I don't think you need to have all the answers. I don't think you should be scouring the internet for ways to bond with people. A lot of this stuff you just can't teach. You gotta go do it, as uncomfortable as that might sound. So if you need tips on how to form and maintain a healthy romantic relationship, I have some, and they're free.
You like free? Is this a Buick? I love Buicks. I was not expecting that.
This is not my life. It's just a fun farewell to a friend. It's just a fun farewell to a friend. This is not my life. It's just a fun.
It's debated whether this is biologically programmed into our brains or shaped by the bombardment of media we are subjected to by birth. Either way, it's safe to say we have assumptions, beliefs that point us in a specific direction. Your ideas about romance come from somewhere, and usually you didn't really get a choice. Most of us, it's movies, media, books, our parents, our grandparents. I don't want to knock anybody, but go back and watch some of your favorite media and just look at how corny the romance is. And like half the time it didn't need to be there. It didn't really service the plot at all. It was just a thing to do in the 90s. Could you imagine going to film school and working your way up to become a director, and you're watching your script come to life and you're in an executive meeting and they're like, this is good, but what if
They kissed.
two people kiss? It's a good thing to know where your ideas of romance and intimacy come from, because if you don't, there's a good chance that your understanding might be a little flawed. You get out into the real world and you realize it's not what it seemed to be. There's a lot missing. It's not love at first sight. There are no butterflies in your stomach. It's actually in your chest, and it's called anxiety. There's no
Real. There's no butterflies in your stomach or in your chest. It's just called anxiety. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? You're just feeling real anxious because you're doing something that you either haven't done or you're not used to doing, or you're afraid of what could happen. But guess what? You don't know if it could happen. So try it, you feel me?
no cute furry supporting character helping you through any of this. It's confusing, and suddenly you have to deal with not only your own fears and insecurities, but you have to mash them up with someone else. You have to make an educated guess on somebody's character and put a little bit of trust and a little bit of faith in a stranger, and there's no possible way of knowing how it's going to turn out until it actually happens.
Bro, that's crazy. And that's why people always talk about non-verbal communication and body language, bro. Y'all gotta really, you know what I'm saying, understand how you look. Like, even within myself, people be like, you look mean or sad all the time. Like, my resting image or my face, whatever, I look mean or sad, but I'm aware enough to recognize, like, I probably look mean and sad. So I always tell people, I'm like, I'm a really nice guy, and I give them like a thumbs up, and they be like, why do you tell people you're a nice guy? Shouldn't you just be a nice guy? And well, I don't look like that. I'm like this tall 6'5" black man. Sometimes my voice is deep. I look intimidating for a lot of people. So of course I'm gonna tell people I'm a nice guy, and then they just gotta believe it and figure out themselves if that's true.
The very first thing to understand is you don't get to build a romantic connection with whoever you want. They have to be a willing participant. Duh.
Consent.
But like, no, because some of y'all don't get it. There are plenty of fish in the sea, yes, but the world is not your oyster. Just because you think somebody is attractive, just because you see them all the time, does not mean the possibility to build a romantic connection exists.
You don't be kissing my hand. I don't know where your lips been.
Building a romantic connection does not mean forcing one. Some people are just in your life to be in your life, and they don't want you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Moving on, we got 4 parts. The first one, communication.
What do you want?
Rematch.
I mean, in our relationship.
This feels like a trap.
It's not a trap. It's no bullshit. What do you want?
What's going on here?
You want me to go first?
Please.
I want to be in a committed relationship where I'm valued as a human being and not as an accessory that you can fuck.
Respect.
That's a good answer.
There's just
Great
no
answer.
way around this. This is the connection. This is the most important thing. You need to get comfortable expressing yourself, and you need to be very clear, very explicit in the beginning. Trust me, it just works out better that way. You gotta use your words. It gets confusing. There's you, and then there's them. And then there's who you think they are, and then there's who you think they think you are. What? It's a lot. And the only way to make sense of it is to be a yapper. They don't know unless you tell them. You should want to tell them so they get things right and y'all are on the same page. One of the first things you should do before you start pursuing any romantic connection with anybody is to talk about it. What does that look like for you? What are we?
What's going on here with us?
Who cares?
And if you have no desire to have these discussions, oh baby, like what are you doing? You can talk about these important things before the connection is fully formed. That's okay. Because how do you know where you're going? Talk about boundaries. Talk about what's considered cheating. Talk about what a romantic connection means to each of you individually. This is an ongoing thing. You don't just have one uncomfortable.
Hey, this is good now that he's bringing a lot of this stuff to like your conscious about connection, because if you're not talking enough about it or communicating enough about the connection you're trying to build, once it's fully formed and you didn't communicate certain parts of the connection that you want, now you start to go all over the place in a relationship. You start to get mad at the little stuff and unnecessary stuff because you expect them to fulfill this part of your connection when that person didn't even understand or know that that's something that you wanted. And now we fully built on this foundation of this thing. In reality, you wanted something else. So it's also understanding yourself enough to be able to communicate clearly what you want. Because if you say one thing and you mean something else and they're building on something else and you get mad that they're building on something else, it's not really their fault.
Comfortable or deep conversation in the beginning. Like, yes, do that, please.
On my phone.
But also, anytime it's appropriate, anytime something comes up, get in the habit of talking to this person about the things that matter to y'all. Continue to have these conversations. Try not to leave them in the dark, especially in the beginning. If he wanted to, he would, but like, what is it? Arguments and disagreements will happen, but I promise you they will happen less if y'all talk more and have a clearer understanding of how things work. Something crazy happened, talk to them. They did something you like, talk to them about it. They did something you didn't like, talk to them about it. Like this.
One thing that I'm starting to understand within myself, because I am a person that critique a lot. Like, I read people. I like to improve certain qualities about myself and people to where it's like they'll do something good and I'm like, let's tweak this just a little bit, you know, but I'm not telling them what I liked about it too much. So nowadays, for like this past couple months, I've been working on telling people when they did something great so I could be able to achieve that balance of fix this, but also you're doing great at this.
This is the person you're choosing. And if you're not telling them, then who are you telling? The next one is my personal favorite, curiosity. You need to be curious.
Like Mr. Rager.
You see my shit?
Wait. Mr. Rager? That's you?
You need to be curious about
this
them,
movie.
even if you know them well.
And it's crazy because before I watched this movie, I seen this on TikTok and it was like, don't even worry too much about the animation. You know what I'm saying? Because the animation is not like 10 out of 10. But the feeling that you get from watching this movie, if you focus on the feeling watching this movie, and those who haven't watched it, called Intergalactic, you can watch it on Netflix. The feeling that you get from this movie is amazing.
This is gold. This is a drug. This is the spark that old people complain about not having in their marriages. It's mainly the idea that you exist and you go through life, trials and tribulations, writing your own story, and someone comes along and they want to read it. Every chapter, in a world where our attention is so easily divided and taken from us, somebody wanting to know you is such a good feeling. I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the best gifts you can give somebody. Sometimes we...
I remember one of my mentees was talking to me. And she was like, I like him, what do I do? I might just go up and talk to him. I'm like, bro, when a woman talk to me and I'm attracted, especially I'm tall, so they're usually always shorter, and they're like looking up at me and they're interested in what I have to say, and you feel that, it's almost like another form of like, you know, like that connection. I don't know what you want to call it, intimacy, whatever, but the fact that they're just sitting there, got looking into your eyes, whatever, and they just want to get to know you.
We need another person to help us learn about ourselves, and to want to be known is such a gift. I gotta call my baby.
Got to.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic...
Of course you can't learn everything about somebody, but even the idea that you're trying to, being committed to understanding, seeing things in them that they can't see in themselves, paying attention, that's how you keep the fire burning. That's how you continue to foster the connection.
Another thing that I tell people, because a lot of ways like how I am with relationships is like, I tell people, I'm like, there is certain priorities and things that each person has in a relationship with two people. Let's say two people, right? And I'm like, I'm focused on your needs and you're focused on my needs, you know, because you're building that connection and you're curious. And guess what? We're both going to be fulfilled because we're completing something. But I personally feel like in a lot of relationships that I have and I've been in, whatever you want to call it, no, I'm not like that. But anyways, I felt like I would prioritize, or I'll be worried about your feelings, and then that person would then worry about their feelings too. So now the focus and the attention is only on them. And guess what? That doesn't help anybody.
Take notes, literally. Jot down some cute things about them. Get in the habit of knowing and wanting to know them. It's really fun. Be a detective, but don't lurk. That's weird. There should be limits on how far you'll go to investigate things, especially when you can just ask them. Ask them about their dreams, their passions. I don't care how corny that is. Ask them about their favorite show. Step into their world for a little bit. They should be doing the same thing for you. And if you have no desire to do this, I don't know, get over it. This is how you keep things going. Be curious, seek answers every now and then. Here we go. Look, I'm just gonna say it. You gotta be vulnerable. Like, there's no way around it. Being nonchalant is corny. Whatever you gotta do, you might have to work on some self-esteem, insecurities, but at some point, you gotta do it. You gotta open up your stupid little heart and you gotta let people in. Even if you don't like it. You're not gonna get very far if you don't open that door. This is how you learn about them, about yourself. This is how you deepen that connection.
That reminds me, there was like, there's a quote or something. It was like, don't be stuck within the limits of what you already know. And that's in connection to vulnerability. Because if you're vulnerable, you'll be opening up yourself, and people can see what you already know to then add on to it, or understand what you don't know to then build on that, and you become a better person. But when you have that closed heart, people ain't gonna know nothing about you, and you're gonna be stuck with a perspective and mindset of what you only know, and it's only gonna get you so far, but it's not gonna get you to where you want to go.
You're gonna uncover a lot of truths about yourself. You're gonna discover some wounds you didn't know you had, some good things too, but maybe you're one of those people that has a lot of wounds to share, just some big old gaping holes.
Oh my God.
Easier said than done. Being vulnerable sucks, especially in the beginning, but you don't need to feel stupid for being vulnerable, ever. You're supposed to be vulnerable. It only hurts so much because you don't ever do it. And the more you do it, the sooner you realize it's less about other people and it's more about you. It's more about you trusting yourself to lay things out for people to see, even if it's a mess. We don't get to pick and choose which pieces of a person we want to accept. We have to accept the whole thing, the good and the flaws, all of it. There's just a point where you have to stop being mysterious and embrace the fear of being perceived, dude, and possibly judged, even if it's for a split second. Even if they might say something cartoonishly clumsy and it shatters your confidence for a couple minutes. It's new for a lot of us. I'm not saying you need to be each other's therapist, but like, why not? At least for like a day, a couple minutes. Shouldn't you be? Aren't y'all connecting? I don't think providing a supportive place within a connection is a bad thing. There's perks to being in a romantic connection with someone. It's okay to be vulnerable. It takes a lot to be vulnerable. So when you see someone being vulnerable, let them know, hey, I see you trying, thank you. And hopefully you're extended the same thing. We want to be connected, right? So do it. You don't have to share everything everywhere all at once. But people want to get deep, and if you can't swim, just say that. But this is how you learn to float. I wrote that.
You can't swim, you gotta write that down. If you can't swim, just say that, but this is how you learn to float. I'm gonna tell people I wrote that. I'm just saying, it's just too good because ain't nobody else gonna hear this and within my circle. And I be telling people, I'm the type of person where I have expectations for the people within my circle, and those expectations come with a lot more care, and you're gonna get a lot more critiquing or whatever. Like somebody I don't know, I don't have expectations for you. When you open up, when you do this, you do that, I would be like, you're doing great, good job, because I don't know what you can and can't do. But with somebody that's in my circle and I know what you can and can't do, now I'm gonna have more expectations, and we're gonna get to build a deeper connection on being able to build and work on our flaws, like they said.
All right, you're doing great. Last one. Authenticity. I know this word is overused, but let me actually explain.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad.
Believe it or not, if you want to build a real romantic connection, you gotta show up as the real you. Even if it's scary, even if you tried it out before. Being hurt doesn't give us permission to move strategically with other people when they're trying to be genuine with you. Like, this is how you miss out on people. This is how you miss out on experiences.
Like, there's a lot of stuff, y'all probably already know this, but sometimes you just have to bring it to your conscious and be like, wow, I've been thinking like this the whole time, but it's crazy how, like, that's really real. That's really real.
You gotta show up as the real you. Even if it's scary, even if you tried it out before. Being hurt doesn't give us permission to move strategically with other people when they're trying to be genuine with you. Like, this is how you miss out on people. This is how you miss out on experiences. Protect yourself, of course. Don't do anything stupid. Don't put in a bunch of effort when you're not getting anything in return. But how can we get things like a healthy partnership, unconditional love, acceptance? How can we get those things? How can someone accept you if you never give them the chance? You gotta be you. You gotta be authentic. You have to let them choose you. And the only way to do that is to drop everything else and show up authentically.
This is what I am.
It's time.
You might have to accept the fact that you could get rejected, or you could have the best experience of your life. I'm gonna say this, and I know you guys won't judge me. I know this is a safe space. I tried to connect with people without showing them the real me. Stop doing that, especially romantically. That shit will not work. The less I tried to fit.
Man, that's real. Show up as not the real you. But again, sometimes that's just a trauma response. Sometimes you're just trying to protect yourself. There is a time and place for everything, and trust your heart that maybe you're in a right place to not show the real you. You know, of course you want to show the real you as much as possible, but when you're not comfortable, you're not safe, you don't gotta be, you know, open heart and genuine all the time and authentic, because there's gonna be people out there that's gonna want to hurt you. If y'all watch one of my previous videos on the worst type of friends, you don't want to be authentic all the time and just show up. I mean, of course you could just cut them off, but that's harder said than done.
Into everybody else's mold, the easier time I had finding someone who wanted me, just me. Stop trying to connect with people who you know don't fit with you. Stop trying to connect with people who you haven't shown the real you. That fake shit is not gonna work. The less we do that, the less we dwell, and the less we actually feel is lost when things don't work out. You don't need to be perfect. We didn't come off of an assembly line. Stop trying to be all these other things, because that fake shit won't last anyway. Like, why would that work? How are you forming a connection based off an inauthentic image? It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. And maybe for some of y'all, that means you got to take a little extra care to work on those negative beliefs, because your partner can't do that for you. They're not you. And that's not really fair to them. That's not how you build. And they can help you, you know, they can be encouraging, they can be uplifting, but at the end of the day, that's work that you got to do, because you're always in a relationship with yourself. You're always in a relationship, even if you're single, even if you're not connected to anybody, you're always in a relationship. Spend time with yourself, explore, put yourself in different situations. The only way to prepare and not be hurt when connections get tough is to know who you are within the connection. You can't do that if you're wearing a mask. You can't do that if you're not being yourself. You can't do that if they don't know the real you. Yeah, communication, curiosity, vulnerability, authenticity. This is just a guide, just a little push to kind of get you thinking about the right things. There's no blueprint to this. Every connection is going to be different, and that's what makes them beautiful. It's not 50-50. It's just y'all making that inner child happy again.
That was real. You're gonna like and subscribe to them because they deserve that. Like, I agree with 100% of that video, right? This is how I see relationships. I kind of see relationships as Jenga, right? I kind of see this as the foundation. Once you start taking down these little pieces, the structure, you know, starts to get weaker, whatever. I tell people all the time, I'm like, whatever you built on, in order for you to restart, you would have to break this whole thing down. So when you have that lack of authenticity and you're not showing your real self, this is what you're building on. And then you start building trust, you start building love, connection, and all this stuff off of this fake image. And now you want this new image added, and now it's confusing because this is what we built on. And the only for y'all to restart is if you destroy this foundation and restart. But like, who really wants to restart? As humans hate restarting stuff. They just hate it. You started it, you might like the finish, but people hate restarting. So just start off on the right foot. Understand who you're talking to. Just don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy. Don't waste your effort. If you're new to this channel, again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. JJ Don't Play. Peace and love to y'all.